songwriting process for Indoctrination is actually a lot more consistent than I usually manage. Usually I'd be writing in various different ways. Sometimes write music first, sometimes I write lyrics first, sometimes I write music and I write lyrics and they're completely separate things and I mash them together later. But this time I wrote all the songs in more or less the same way. I'd written the story already. I wrote that while I was still working on my previous album, Artifice. And then I set about working on my EP, Spare Parts. And as I was getting towards the end of Spare Parts, I started writing lyrics just because I was in the flow of writing. I'd been working on writing Spare Parts. I just wanted to keep writing. And I had this story, so I just started writing lyrics. And after a little while of just regularly writing more and more lyrics, I realised I'd written quite a large part of the album, lyric-wise. I hadn't been writing any music because I was working on other music, so I just kept going with the lyrics until I got to a point where I had written most of the lyrics for most of the songs, and I still hadn't really written much music at that point. So after Spare Parts came out, I moved on to writing music for these lyrics I had written. Most of the songs were written in that same way, lyrics and then music. As I was getting later on in the process, I realised there was a bit of a hole in the plot, and I had to go back and write the song Time to Heal later, just to explain how we get from the character waking up to suddenly going through this process of being indoctrinated into a cult. I needed something to bridge that gap, to explain the healing process. So I wrote this one more song, but I still wrote that song mostly lyrics first. The finale was something that I added much later on in the process, because the musical ending that I'd had was a bit sprawling and disorganised at best, and I didn't really like it. And I came up with this new, much tighter idea, I think. Something that brought the album together, it brings the lyrics together, drives home the point of the album, and it makes more musical sense because it's basically a theme that we've already heard several times before by that point.